America's cropland is slowly shifting. Of the nation's top 10 crops by planted acres, only 3 have gained ground in the last quarter century: corn, soybeans, and canola. The rest, hay, wheat, cotton, sorghum, rice, oats, and barley, have all lost acres to these expanding crops, development, or other uses since 2000. Lost ground doesn't always mean lost production thanks to improved yields, but it does show how clearly the nation has shifted from 4 dominant crops to just 2, as corn and soybeans push into new territory, primarily replacing wheat and hay. Bruce Haines, who farms 800 acres near Mitchell, South Dakota, reluctantly dropped hard red winter wheat from his crop rotation a few years ago.
Typically, a third of my crop would have been wheat. And so, I would have been farming 240 acres of wheat a year. None this year. It's been 3 years since I raised wheat.
He's not alone. This animation from USDA's Cropland Cross Tool, set to run from 2007 to 2024, illustrates how wheat is disappearing from eastern South Dakota.
In this country, we've been raising wheat since the settlers got here at the turn of the century. And all of a sudden, marketing challenges and weather challenges of profitability kind of stands in the way of wheat acres. And so we've moved more into the soybean and corn rotation. The wheat acres that we have now are probably half of what we would have had 5, 6, 7 years ago. No, it's really sad. I really enjoyed raising wheat.
Projecting forward, corn and soybeans could jump from a combined 58% of major cropland acres today to 68% by 2050, though dietary preferences, policy shifts, economic forces, and weather could change that picture. Haines, a board member for the South Dakota Soybean Research and Promotion Council, isn't worried about corn and soybean dominance. He says farmers must make smart economic decisions, not emotional ones.
I don't think it's a concern because I think that there's a large shift in the biofuels and, the petroleum market. I think that we all understand that what we used to get from the ground below in petroleum, now we have to raise those biofuels from the ground above.
A soybean crushing plant, High Plains Processing, recently opened near Haynes' farm, eliminating the need to ship soybeans by rail to West Coast ports.
We have those renewable fuel plants. Those are local markets. And so within 3 miles of my farm, they're going to crush 35 million bushels of soybeans. And, we know that market is going to be there.
That kind of infrastructure encourages more farmers to plant those crops. And when other crops disappear from a region, the supply chain infrastructure often goes with it, making them harder to bring back. Some argue nations can specialize if the world functions as a smooth global market. Others worry that politics, weather, or conflict could disrupt that trade. Sarah Cardin, Research and Policy Director at Farm Action, sees signs that USDA is becoming more willing to also support higher-value, labor-intensive crops like fruits and vegetables, products the U.S. increasingly imports.
The recently announced bailout of $12 billion included $1 billion explicitly for specialty crop producers as a set-aside. That's an exception. That's not, if you go back to the era of Trump 1 and we had a trade war and a bailout, that wasn't there. So that's a big change, right? Just this acknowledgement that there are other types of producers out there that have high input costs. They do have market challenges.
Without greater crop diversity, Cardin worries the U.S. will continue to deepen its agricultural trade deficit.
They were projecting in 2024 a $32 billion agricultural trade deficit. Because specialty crops are more valuable, you would only need to shift about 0.4% of the cropland into specialty crops just to balance that trade deficit.
Cardin says global specialization works until something changes. Nations then discover how dependent they have become on one another.
That's very much like our relationship with Mexico, for instance. We grow a lot of cheap corn for them to import as feed. And they grow a lot of fruits and vegetables for us to import. We've lost sovereignty, they've lost sovereignty. It creates a problematic power dynamic, I think.
Experts say there's a small degree of agronomic risk in relying so heavily on just two crops. Florida's loss of 90% of its citrus production due to a virus and insect combo offers a reminder of nature's unpredictability. Since 2015, the USDA has offered whole farm revenue protection insurance, in part designed to encourage greater agricultural diversity. Farms or ranches selling at least 3 distinct commodities or products can qualify for higher levels of protection under this federally subsidized insurance program. Adoption has been slow, however. Only about 2,250 farms had the policy as of 2024, though it has climbed in recent years. In December 2025, the USDA Office of Inspector General found that the Risk Management Agency couldn't prove that its partner independent crop insurance agents were consistently offering the program to producers. The RMA agrees with the orders that it now must require agents to track that they offer all insurance options. In the meantime, Haines continues watching for the right moment to bring wheat back into his rotation.
It's one of my favorite things to grow is in the springtime is wheat. There's nothing more beautiful than a wheat field. If you're raising it just to be pretty, that's good. But if you're raising it for cash, there's a shortcoming in that.
For Market to Market, I'm Colleen Bradford Krantz.